Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
By far one of my favorite players the past 3 years that really hasn't gotten much playing time. Comes in at number 74 on our roster countdown. That's safety Taylor Hawkins. Just a practice squad warrior that is, turning into kind of a crowd favorite. If you go to training camp and you see all the interaction with the players and the fans, Taylor Hawkins understands his role and is seizing every single moment. I really, really like this guy. It's one of those things where 49ers players, on the back end of the roster, like Taylor Hawkins, there's a couple paths, right? One, you don't fit, you're gone. Two, you continue to rise up and eventually become a stud, Emmanuel Mosley, Matt Breida, Aziz. There's lots of different names that you could put into that category. And then there's just some that the 49ers just love, but for whatever reason can't crack the 53-man lineup. And that's kind of where Taylor Hawkins is. They love him because he makes their team better. Scout team player, depth, gives all that he's got every single day in practice, and you see that in training camp continuously. But he just struggles just to get over that last little hump. But they love this dude. Now, Hawkins comes in 74 for us. His highest ranked was 67. His lowest was 80 on all four of our rankings for this year. Now, if we track where he started in 2022, he was 87 out of 90. Then last year, he was 63, and he's kind of found that middle ground into 74 is where he falls today. Shout out to Dave. He helped with this episode. Josh, Zach, and Oscar as well. And so we've got this safety. He wears jersey number 41, 6'1", 205. And here's what I will say, and I hope this doesn't come across poorly. He doesn't look 6'1", 205. He plays small. He looks smaller. He's not, I don't understand why, because the 6 foot 200 threshold is what the 49ers love with their defensive backs. He meets that to a T. He exceeds it, 6'1", 205. It just doesn't seem to play that way. 30-inch arms, very short arms. He's 25 years old, 4'5", 340. Like, the metrics, everything you look at is just like, yep, check, 36.5-inch vertical. Like, he's got everything that you want from a player at this position. But for some reason, it just hasn't come together. And I'm not sure that there's really much meat left on the bone for him. I hope I'm wrong because, again, by far one of my favorite players. And he just always seems to do what's right. Always. 7-on-7s, one-on-one, team, preseason. He even got elevated into a game last year and balled out, got an interception. Week 18 against the Rams, that game that didn't really matter. Like, I don't know. They're not really willing to give this kid a chance. Now, if we look at Taylor Hawkins and kind of his origin story from Palm Springs High School, went to San Diego State, so he's been in California nonstop pretty much his entire life. Graduated with a sociology degree. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of Palm Springs, 4-year letter winner. Track times, he ran a 10.8 100-meter dash, solid, 22.6 200-meter, decent, 44.4 400-meter, that's pretty solid as well. He helped Palm Springs capture a CIF championship. No team from the Valley had ever won a championship since then. So, and that's still ring true today. He's just solid all the time. It's just what he brings to the table. He picked the Aztecs over a lot of top-tier schools. Arizona State offered him, Colorado State, Fresno State, Nevada, Washington State, and he chose to go to the Aztecs, which there were a lot of Aztecs on this roster. They're slowly fading a little bit. Special teams ace all through college. Undrafted free agent, didn't get drafted. Dane Brugler of The Athletic had him rated as the number 36 safety in that 2022 draft class. So then he comes out, he joins the 49ers. He's just been with us. And really, back and forth injury. He's had some injuries. There's no doubt about it. And that's been kind of the issue with him. He's currently on a 1-year, $785,000 deal. No guarantees, no any of that stuff. For his career, just over $500,000, $528,000. And a big reason why that chunk is there is because he did get elevated in Week 18. Now, Once he made his regular season debut, Week 18, 2023 against the Rams, had an interception, 4 tackles, 3 solo run stops, played 67 snaps on defense, 12 on special teams, and hurt his wrist. Kind of like, I don't know if it was a broken wrist or what, but hurt his wrist really badly late in the game and got pulled. But dude was balling out. He was playing really, really well, and it was so cool seeing him get that interception. I was just proud of that dude. Now, in the preseason last year, played really, really well as well, but broke his hand against the Chargers in the preseason game, which required surgery. So he had to bounce back, and then they brought him back eventually. So you talk about somebody who he's been in one NFL game. That's it. And it kind of hurts because you're seeing it in training camp, you're seeing it in preseason, and he's been great in preseason. You go back to the 2022 preseason, he was all over the place. He finished as the 5th highest rated defender one game, 7th highest rated defender the other game. I mean, he shows from an analytics standpoint, he's just where he needs to be all the time. Quick, decisive, very calm, cool, collected. Now, if you look at the safety depth chart landscape, this is where it gets like, probably why he finished number 74 on this list. 49ers usually keep 3 to 4 safeties on their initial 53-man roster. The locks are already there if you just look at the contracts. Jair Brown, George Odom, Malik Mustafa, those guys are making the roster. You look at Talanoa Hufanga, all-pro safety when he was healthy. The health is the only aspect for if he makes this 53-man or not, if he's on the PUP or if he's on, how they allocate his roster spot, if that makes sense. Hufanga's not going anywhere. But if for some reason his ACL, which he came out and said, like, look, my plan isn't to be back at training camp. My plan is to be back for week 1 of the regular season. So if there's any delay, which we do not want, but that is a possible realistic scenario for Hufanga, well, guess what? That's going to make another spot available for somebody to be elevated. I don't think that Hawkins has an opportunity to make this 53-man roster at all. I don't think that is. Even if Hufanga's on the PUP or whatever, I think that they would cut him, put him on the practice squad, then elevate him for week 1, 2, possibly 3. That's best case scenario. And not too distant a reality. That could be, I'd say, like a 20% chance because, okay, again, you keep 3 to 4 safeties, right? Hufanga, Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa, George Odom. Now you look at the depth behind that. You got Taylor Hawkins, you got Eric Harris, another veteran safety option, and then you have undrafted free agent Jalen Mahoney. Who do you trust more? I trust Hawkins. Eric Harris, I'm cool with that too, but like Hawkins has been in this system now for 3 consecutive years. He understands the ins and outs of this defense, and he doesn't make mistakes. That's one of my favorite things about him. He's very, very consistent. And, I've said this in the past, and Sorensen came out and talked about how great George Odom's been playing through OTAs and minicamp. That's great to hear because Odom's been really poor at safety since he's joined the 49ers. But I've said for a long time, I would prefer Taylor Hawkins at safety over George Odom, even if George Odom's healthy. I see Odom as just a special teams player only and a kind of break glass in case of emergency at safety. But if you're heading into a week with George Odom in your plans, elevate Taylor Hawkins because he's a better safety. Odom's elite special teamer. I'm not taking that away from him. But at the safety spot, since he's joined the Niners, we haven't seen it. Whenever George Odom was with the Colts, sure. But Taylor Hawkins, fun player, practice squad, I think will be happening. I really, really do, just because he fits exactly what the Niners culture loves. They rewarded him last year by elevating him, getting him that playing time, helped his paycheck out, helped his bank account out, and he balled out. Got the interception, but did get injured. So don't think there's a chance at the 53-man, but Taylor Hawkins is one of those guys that I'm like, he's going to be on the Niners one way or another. Practice squad, elevations, all those are realities, and the Hufanga injury just makes it even more likely that Taylor Hawkins is going to be hanging around the 49ers for this season as well. So excited about this guy. Can't wait to see him in training camp. He's always one of the ones. It's so cool to see because by far one of the first ones out. You see number 41 out there. Just fun players. So Taylor Hawkins, really appreciate all you've done for the 49ers. And hopefully we get another shot this year to get elevated and see what you can do.